Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to what I am calling rinse and repeat. How to stop repeating patterns over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah, welcome, everybody. It's really nice to see familiar faces. It's nice to see new faces and new names. And it's really nice to see people who like pop in here and there, popping back in. So thank you for that. I love engagement in the chat. And I want you to know that I'll probably take breaks and like scroll in the chat, but I'm not going to monitor the chat ongoing because it'll just be distracting for me, probably also for you. So do feel free to put questions, comments in the chat, and I'll take pauses and like kind of scroll through and check in. But just know that I won't get chat messages like during the class, like as I'm moving through the material. So that's just FYI. So I'm Robin Vogel. For those meeting me for the first time, I am the founder of Come Back to Love, and I am so happy to be here with you for today's masterclass. That again, I am calling rinse and repeat, how to stop repeating the same patterns in relationship over and over and over again. So again, I'm thrilled to see folks who I already know and love very much, and so glad you're here, and thrilled to see new folks. So exciting. So if you've been on a call with me before, you know that I'm going to be getting into a lot over the next 60 minutes. I will do my best to honor the time. I know that at least one person needs to hop off at 12:30. And you will get the recording. So no worries. You're going to probably want to listen to the recording again anyway, even if you're here for the whole time, because I'm going to be presenting a lot of material. We'll be doing a little bit of inner work and around what it means to stop repeating these patterns that we all have, and what it takes to instead of repeating the patterns, to heal the past, stop the patterns, and create new in your life every day. That's my plan and my intention for today's material. Because as you'll see, your capacity to stop patterns that perhaps have served you over the years but don't serve you now is really at the heart of creating your dream relationship and your dream life. And in terms of the relationship, let's say one that's healthy and healing for each of you. One that's fun, adventurous, powerful, loving, sexy, and more. Fill in your own adjectives. Those are mine. Because as you know, love matters. Love matters in our lives. We all want to feel loved. We all want to be in love. We all want to love others. We all want to love ourselves. You know, I was thinking about this as I was putting this class together, and I realized that one of the main reasons that people are so sad when there's a breakup or a loss or a death is because there's no place to actually put the love that we have inside ourselves. We crave a place to put the love that we have. And usually that's outside ourselves. We are all working on loving ourselves and turning that inside. But love is so important for so many reasons. So after we do some inner work today, we're going to spend the bulk of our time learning some tools. Most of these tools are the tools of Access Consciousness, which are tools that I've been bringing into my life for the last 3 years or so. And I feel that they are the tools required to stop repeating patterns over and over again. If it were easy to do this, I'm sure you would have done it already. So I'm really happy to give you some really tangible things that actually work and have worked for me. So as we get started and as we get centered here, which we are going to do a centering in a moment, I'd love to hear, and I would love you to put this in the chat, and I will look at it in a little bit, but I'd love to hear what you'd like to get out of today. One thing you'd like to shift, or let's say have the tool to shift in the next hour. So just take a moment to think about that. Like, why did you sign up? And what brought you here? Probably something that you would like to shift. You'll have to excuse me. I just got back from Mexico. I've had a little bit of a cold, so I've still got like a little bit, but mostly all is well. So let's take a moment while you are Maybe you've already written in the chat. Maybe you're, still thinking about it. Let's all have a moment to center. So I invite you to have a breath and gently close your eyes. Maybe even if you're walking, you can just pause. Or if you're walking, you don't have to close your eyes, but just heighten your awareness. So deep inhalation and nice long exhalation. Deep inhalation and relaxed long exhalation. In these days and these times, what's going on in the world, these moments of pause, these moments of going inside, these moments of just taking intentional time to relax your body. Take a moment as you're focused inward to connect with the earth. These are really important moments for us right now. When you bring your awareness to the earth, just feel her energy, like automatically be invited in to connect with your own. It just happens, kind of just happens right away. As soon as you bring your awareness to her, to the trees, to the ground. Here in New England, we've got fall happening and beautiful colors. Just invite all that good energy into your own energy field. Maybe take a moment, put hands on your body. It's nice to put a hand on heart, hand on belly. Breathing in and relaxing. Take a moment to greet your body. Hello, sweet body. Hello, sweet body. And notice when you greet your body, there's like a subtle or maybe not so subtle relaxation that happens. Like, okay. We're here together. How can I include my body in every moment? It's a great question. You will notice that today will be full of questions. Asking questions is one of the most potent access tools that I have come across. I'm not going to talk about it in depth today, but it is absolutely a wonderful tool to bring in more awareness, more information, more guidance, more wisdom, more consciousness. So deep, deep breath and exhale. Give your body a little shake. I always like to give my hips a little shake, my shoulders. Just come a little more into the present moment in that way. Good. You can open your eyes when you're ready, if you haven't already. So I want to start by saying you're in the right place if you're married and feeling stuck. You're in the right place if you're in some kind of relationship other than marriage and feeling stuck. You're in the right place if you're not in relationship at all, you consider yourself single, and you keep choosing the same quote unquote wrong person over and over and over again. You're in the right place if you're not identified in any way with regards to relationship, but you notice your own patterns keep repeating themselves. You're in the right place if you're simply curious. So this workshop really, I think everybody will get something from it, many things from it, actually. So some of you are with me in Mexico, and I am definitely keeping names anonymous, but I wanted to share that last week I was leading a retreat in Mexico for singles, and not repeating patterns that don't serve our highest good was at the forefront of the work we did together. On the very first day, Nancy had a huge aha moment that the definition she had been carrying around with her about relationship, something she told herself over and over again, was blocking her from meeting her partner or blocking her even from going on dates. And the aha moment came really quickly. So that's why I'm sharing that with you, because that's one of my hopes for you today. In the middle of the week, a man who was participating had huge insight into the fact that he was settled in his way in being in the world. Like he had accepted things as they were. And despite saying on the one hand that he wanted things to change, he had all these other parts, I'll say, inside him that didn't actually want things to change. And that is, one complex dynamic that can keep things stuck. So I'm just sharing these two bits of just sort of case studies, if you will, from last week, because they were very present for me. And they are very complex human dilemmas and human dynamics and challenges. We're not going to go deep into these dynamics on a 1-hour call. We could go in very deeply and fully understand and process these two scenarios, but I wanted to share them with you to say that the work we did together really helped them to transform these patterns that they've been living with all their lives. What we're going to be exploring today is how to stop repeating these patterns that are keeping you stuck, keeping you in the rinse repeat cycle. Sometimes people talk about rinse repeat like, oh, that's ease. We actually don't want the rinse repeat cycle. We want that cycle to stop. When you're able to stop the rinse repeat cycle, you're able to achieve real results, long-lasting results, transformational results. And while there's a lot of talk out there about how to make changes in your life, right? That's like basically all we hear in the world. A huge aspect of the conversation, I think, is getting lost. And that's the conversation about how to fully transform these patterns. We all have done many things and we've made changes and we stop patterns for a little while, but most people go back to their usual ways, right? How many people have lost weight and gained weight, for example? That's the most popular example. Or how about if you told yourself okay, I'm going to keep a gratitude journal. I'm going to start this really positive thing in my life. Every day I'm going to write something in my gratitude journal. And a couple weeks in, you're like, oh, wait, I'm not writing in my gratitude journal. And in fact, I'm not feeling grateful anymore. That is one that I have not only absolutely done myself, but I hear that from so many of my clients and participants. And it's just an example of ways that we make change, but the change doesn't last, because in the world really out there, it's all about a quick fix. People want the magic bullet. In the world of psychology, which I've been part of for almost 30 years, the focus is on one aspect of healing. It's on the emotional. And emotional healing is very important. Don't get me wrong. Emotional healing is a big, big part of the work I've done. And I'm sure a big part of the work all of you have done. But the truth is that if it's going to be effective and truly transformational and fully healed and heal, when I say fully healed, I don't mean fully. Sometimes things heal full and complete, but sometimes they heal significantly. And then we just sort of keep chipping away at it. But if we only focus on one aspect of healing, my experience is that it doesn't come to closure as most people really want. It doesn't. The work needs to, again, be transformational, or it doesn't yield the results that last. So our conversation today is about developing effective strategies in more realms than the emotional, so that you can start to make changes that last in your life and in your relationships. The work I do in Come Back to Love supports clients and participants to create these changes. And in turn, we've been so grateful for the work we've done together that bring more love, more connection, more intimacy. I'm going to say better sex, but also more sex, if that's something people want, into their lives. So for all of those reasons, that is why I'm here with you today. Many of you know I've been around for a pretty long time now. I've been teaching this work for over 20 years. It's just mind-boggling to me. I'm going to be 58 in November. My background includes degrees in psychology, in tantra, spirituality, sex coaching, energy healing, and more. This is just for people who don't know me, that are brand new to my work. So I just wanted to say a little bit about myself so you have some context. I've led hundreds and hundreds of workshops, retreats, programs, etc. And I build my business on the principles of Come Back to Love that I teach. So as I said, I'm going to go deep. I'm not really a surface person. I've done my own healing and I use the tools that I teach because they're so effective. I'm not going to go into my story today, but suffice to say, I'm a lifelong learner. And what I really get about myself is that I've been a lifelong seeker of healing. It took years of experimenting to finally get that it's a well-rounded approach. I've been calling it the 4-gate approach, the 4 gates of Come Back to Love. This is new language I've been using over the last couple of months. And those 4 gates address the 4 aspects of healing: the emotional, the mind, the soul, and the body. So today we're going to learn some of the tools that will get you started on your own journey. So I'm going to give you a lot today, and there are going to be places and deeper layers that we won't be able to cover. If we get to the end of the session and you're wanting to go deeper, I'm going to share with you how you can do that and how we can do that together in a program that I lead called Heal Your Heart. As I just mentioned, the Come Back to Love program, or the Come Back to Love method, addresses healing on the 4 levels of transformation. So today we have, I think we'll be addressing probably mostly like the emotional and a bit of the mental. So those are the first 2 gates on the Come Back to Love path. Also, I love shares and I love Q&A. So even though I can't see all of you on my one big screen, I will definitely pause for questions and for shares. And at the end, answer any questions that you have. So right now, I'm going to start with a question. As I said, I'm probably going to be asking you lots of questions. If anybody, sometimes it's helpful for people to type up the questions. You can feel free to type them even into the chat for people. That's completely up to you, but certainly if you want to write them down on your, pad or whatever you're using, your journal, that's also helpful. And you'll have the recording, so you won't catch all of these. You can listen again. So the first question for you is, what is it that you really want for yourself when it comes to love, intimacy, and connection? What is it that you really want for yourself when it comes to love, intimacy, and connection? And just take a moment and jot that down. And also feel free to share a sentence or 2 in the chat if you'd like. It's really helpful for people. Sometimes it's hard to identify what we want. And when we see other people's, we're like, oh yeah, right. That's what I want. Or that's a version of what I want. I have my own words. So what is it you really, really want? And what is it that you want it for? What's your why? For example, you want to stop choosing the same person over and over again, or you want to stop choosing the same dynamic in your relationship over and over and over again. Why? Why do you want that? How does the choosing the wrong person or choosing the dynamic, because I'm going to say we're all choosing, even if it's a dynamic that keeps repeating itself, there's some way we're actually choosing that, which is kind of a hard pill to swallow. I know, but I think it's very valuable to think about it in that way. So why are you choosing that? How does it, when you do choose it, how does it impact your life? How is it impacting your life? And let's take the flip side. What changes when you stop the rinse and repeat cycle? What changes when you stop the rinse and repeat? If you want to be in a relationship, if you do, what changes when that happens? If you want to stop the subconscious, unconscious patterns that are playing out in a relationship, what happens when those patterns stop and shift? How does that impact your life? And what's the ripple effect in your life? That's a really big question. I would jot that one down and spend some time with that later. What's the ripple effect in your life when the rinse and repeat cycle stops? So take some notes. And in a call like this, what I usually suggest is jotting down some keywords and making sure you schedule time for yourself later to do some more thorough journaling. Or just keep going. Like if it's pouring out now, like don't worry about me. I'm going to keep talking. You'll get the recording and just write, write, write. Like if it's right there, go for it. Right. I never want to stop anybody's process. So I'm going to get to some nuts and bolts, some tools in a moment. But as I mentioned, I wanted to spend this time doing some inner work and talking about the inner blocks that get in the way of our stopping these patterns, that keep us in rinse and repeat, keep us on autopilot, keep us moving through life unconsciously. I'm spending this time on inner blocks because many of you already know, no matter how much you want to step fully into your true self, which I know is part of this, making conscious choices that are for your highest good and then get you to where you want to be in your life. No matter how much you want to create an incredible relationship, if you're not committed, if you don't identify your blind spots and what's happening subconsciously, or if you don't believe that you truly can, it's unlikely to happen. So there's a lot of factors. The unconscious mind is so powerful, as you know, and we'll talk about the mind in a few. Our inner blocks to transform and our inner blocks to transformation in your life, the blocks are often summed up in one phrase. And I'm going to dive right in here and get to like the root of it. So no need to like dig to the bottom and get to the root. I'm going to say it right now. The block is often some version of I'm not good enough. This is the power, unfortunately, of the mind. Our mind is amazing in so many ways, and also our greatest challenge. I'll say it that way. The power of the mind, unfortunately, the mind's job, one of the mind's jobs is to sabotage. So it plays this misbelief, I am not good enough, over and over again. And it plays out in a lot of different ways. And we all have it, myself included, right? We're all at different stages in our growth. And I think this I'm not good enough is the sentence the mind uses and some version of it to sabotage us and hold us back and keep us stuck. Our job, however, is not to believe it. And we'll go into a little bit of that. If only it were that easy, right? So let me explain how this belief impacts the rinse repeat cycle. You're all here because you're ready to step more fully into your next evolution of yourself, right? I want you actually to write that down because those are words that I'm guessing you haven't used yet in your journaling and probably not what you were thinking before you signed up for this call. But I know you're here because you're ready to step into the next evolution of yourself, or you wouldn't be here. Negative beliefs and fear can stop us in our tracks. We choose what we feel we deserve ourselves. We judge others the way we judge ourselves. If you're doing something in relationship that you don't like, you're likely doing it to yourself as well. Another hard pill to swallow, but really important. Why? Because some parts of you don't feel like you're good enough. If you're choosing the same wrong partner, again, I say wrong in quotes because I actually don't believe it's right or wrong. But it's language that people use. I believe there's like gifts with every single person that we come into contact with, whether it lasts 5 minutes or the relationship lasted 3 years or it lasts, however long it's lasted, 30 years. It's not wrong, but I'm using it here. And again, it's in quotes. So if you've been choosing that partner again and again, and you came to a place of not liking them or not liking a pattern for some reasons, why is that? Do you feel you deserve better? Do you feel worthy of a true match energetically and emotionally? That's a really good question to write down. Do you feel worthy of a true match energetically and emotionally? And you inside are doing the choosing. That's a sort of complicated question, but it's a really good one again to write down and come back to. Which parts of you inside are doing the choosing, whether it's choosing a behavior, a relationship dynamic, or a person? What do you judge outside of yourself that you've seen in your own life? So I want to give you an example from my own life, and it's a sort of complex, so I hope that I can describe it well enough so that it's understandable. I was in a relationship for the past year and a half, and I ended the relationship last spring. I actually thought that perhaps this person would end up being someone I spent my life with. But when the opportunity to go really deep and open our hearts even more, to my total surprise, he simply said, "No, I don't want to do that," which is pretty shocking, I have to say. Um, Actually, I don't know that I ever met anybody who's actually said that so clearly. Like, no, I don't really want to go that deep in relationship. That's not really who I am. I was like, oh, interesting. And I was disappointed, of course, and confused. But I bounced back really quickly, which was really amazing. And I just say it to for myself to acknowledge myself that it was really amazing. Why? Because I saw right away the pattern that I had repeated over and over again, which actually probably led me to teach this class. That end, I put it out to lots of people, and they were like, "Yes, please teach it." So it was such a great doorway to like, oh, I see this pattern. There's something about the emotional life that was getting repeated from my past over and over again. And it was the perfect doorway to do the inner work that I needed to do in order to heal something. And as I opened that door to do the work, I found things that I had not found before that needed my attention, that needed healing. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course. Like, I have to do this piece of work for myself. Otherwise, I'm not able to have the transformation that I require and desire in my life. So I got to see, like, oh, this is a version of my father that's playing out again. I thought I had done that work, but here's another really important piece that I hadn't actually, that had been like in a blind spot. And it was incredible. It was actually like brilliant to be able to see exactly what the next steps on my own healing journey were and how important that was for me to do that work. And so, I got to see, like, I chose that. I chose somebody really self-contained who didn't want to do deep emotional work. And I saw how I needed to be really self-contained in my life because my family didn't want to do the emotional work with all the trauma and drama that was going on. And it was like, oh, wow. And it was so clear. And it helped me to see how I made the choice and then to look at, okay, like, what do I need to do to get past this, to get to the other side of this? Was really great. And like I said, it was surprising and confusing in the beginning, but it ended up very quickly to be like such a great positive experiences because parts of ourselves hide out and they can be hard to find. So this isn't to overwhelm you with like, uh-oh, I have emotional work, I have so much emotional work. It's not that. It's actually to give you the chance to do what I call excavation work, which I know you've already been doing because I can see lots of you are taking notes. So the first tool is, where do you not feel good enough in your life? This belief that everyone has plays out in various ways, like I said. So the first tool is to write down this question. And like I said, take some time with it. Not necessarily like lots and lots of time, obviously, on the call, because we have a limited amount of time. But to do the first tool, I would say, is doing the excavation work, asking yourself, where do I not feel good enough? Where does it show up? Like, it can show up in ways that are so subtle. And it can also show up in ways that you're so used to that you don't even know that you are judging yourself in those ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're used to, if when you're used to something, you don't see it. So the invitation here is to like expand your awareness, expand your consciousness, and allow that information to come to you with clarity. I'm going to pause for a moment and just see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to quickly check the chat. Nice. Look forward to looking at that also later. Any sort of quick questions now? I can also take them at the end. Okay, good. Welcome to those of you that have shown up in the last little bit of time. Okay, tool number 2. This is a beautiful tool from the world of Access Consciousness, founders Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane Heer. This is the question, who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? Now, what I have learned over the last couple of years is that emotional work is important, but it's not everything, and it can also be a big distraction. So I hope you will write this tool down. It is really well known that most of our thoughts, most of our feelings, and most of our emotions aren't actually ours. They have come from somewhere else and from someone else. You can look at the work. I always quote the same person because I love him so much. You can look at the work of Bruce Lipton. Gary Douglas says this often in Access Consciousness. It's one of the founding principles and founding tools that 98% of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not actually ours. Now, from the science perspective, we bring this into Bruce Lipton's work, who's like a biologist. His research has shown that, and talked about, and many other people have talked about this as well, that most of what we've learned and experienced in our lives is because we've absorbed everything from, they say birth to age 6. I'm going to say like the womb to age 6. We just absorb everything around us. And we take on all of these beliefs, these thoughts, these feelings, everything that everybody else is experiencing in our lives, in their lives, and we take them on as true. We like absorb them like a sponge. We're living in the energy of our parents, often the energy of our mothers, if we have the mother with us in physical, and we're just absorbing this, absorbing that, and we have no other choice but just to believe that it's true. And then we spend the rest of our lives kind of unraveling all of this, and which is a big thing to do in our lives, right? But this question of whatever it is that's happening for you, whether it's a behavior you're repeating, whether it's a belief that you're holding, even this belief that I'm not good enough. The first question is it mine? Is this mine? Is this behavior, let's say you're always sort of judging and sort of yelling in your life. Is this mine? Is this who I truly am? And listen for a yes and listen for a no. Feel into if it's heavy, then it's a no. If it's heavy, it's not yours. Feel into if it's light. If it's light and joyful, it is yours. Most of the time when you ask, is this mine? Probably going to get a no, or I'm not really sure. It's a really, really powerful tool. And it takes a while. Because when I first started doing it, I was like, what? Wait, first of all, like 98% of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not mine. What? Like that's just, that in of itself is like a huge like mind twist, right? So that's the first like mind paradigm shift to just take that on for a little bit and say like, okay, well, what if it were true? Let me try this. Let me see like, okay, I'm going to take this as a belief now and play with it. See if it's true for you. And then to practice the tool. Is this mine? And who does this belong to? And see what you get. Now, when you ask the question, who does this belong to? You don't have to get the answer right away. Oh, this is, my grandmother's on my mother's side, blah, blah, blah. Maybe your grandmother on your mother's side will show up and you'll be like, oh, this was a dynamic that she experienced or something. But not necessarily. You might not get an answer right away. You're just like putting it out to the universe, Who does this belong to, universe? Like it's not mine. You don't need to find the person. But there is an invitation that's really powerful and that is to return it to sender. So the tool has a couple of parts, and that is this mine? Who does it belong to? Return to sender. Now, when I do return to sender, I say return to sender with consciousness and light. Sometimes people will say, like, well, I don't want to return this like dynamic of yelling, let's say, or being irritated to somebody. Like, you don't want them to have that. That's fine. Just send it to them with a lot more consciousness than they had or have, and send it to them with light so that it floats over energetically. You're not turning them into a bad person or anything. You're just returning it to where it actually belongs. We pick up all these things that aren't ours. We think they're ours, and then we play them out in our lives. It's like, what are we doing? So again, these patterns and beliefs, they didn't start yesterday. They absolutely, I guarantee you, have come from someplace in the past related to some belief or some fear that's been with you for a long time. So take a moment to think about, like, where did you witness this? Was there someone who modeled this fear, this belief, this behavior? And then return to sender. Turn to sender with consciousness attached. Return to sender with consciousness and light. Either one. So I'm going to pause again for questions. I know we're coming sort of round the bend to the last 20 minutes or so. I do have another tool. And I also want to share with you about the Heal Your Heart program. So just want to check in. I'm going to scroll and see if anybody puts their hand up. There's so many tools here. So I do hope that you listen again and again, because likely you're taking in some that are resonating right now. And then there's others that'll be really helpful and really important. And so listen again and jot those down as well. Awesome. Okay, let me just tune in for a moment. I want to bring us back to the rinse and repeat and stop choosing over and over and over again. So I guess I just want to summarize that. When we're choosing patterns over and over again, sometimes they're not our patterns. Sometimes they're coming from a place of I'm not good enough that we don't recognize. And then we choose things that resonate with the vibration of I'm not good enough. Right? Like you've heard this before with, and you've seen it with other people. You've seen people choose partners, for example, and you're like, why did that person choose that person? Like, that person isn't good enough, quote unquote, for that person. I mean, how many people have had that experience, that they've seen that in other people, right? Yeah, we've all seen that. We've all had maybe our knowing, or maybe in some assessment, evaluation of people we know and love. It's hard to see it in ourselves. What we want is a match. If we're in relationship or looking for a relationship, we want a match, most especially emotionally and energetically. And the energetic piece is the piece that I think a lot of people ignore. And it very much contributes to the rinse and repeat cycle that we're trying to break. We think of ourselves as verbal, very verbal. That's our main way of communicating, right? I'm speaking, you're listening. But actually, you are tuning in so much to my energy, and you're listening to my energetic being and my energy field, maybe even more than you're listening to my words, because the words also are going by quickly, right? But you're taking this in on all levels, most especially energetically. But we forget that we're energetic beings. We forget that we're energetic, infinite beings. And so we meet somebody, or we scroll on a phone app, on a dating app, and we look with our eyes and we read what's said. But are you also listening energetically? Because your energetic body is communicating to you clearly, powerfully, in a totally aligned way for you and your body. So that is the place to remember to include your body, like we did in the beginning. We put our hands on our body and we're like, okay, body, I'm going to include you. What if you, for those of you in the dating realm, I know not all of you are, but what if you, those of you that are, before you opened up Bumble or Plenty of Fish or whatever it is, what if you like put your hands on your body and you said like, body, I'm going to include you in this experience. Energy fields, I want your information, because immediately whether there's an energetic connection or not. Even in a photo that you're looking at, you're picking up the energy of that person, and your energy field is relating with the energy of that person. What's the information that you're missing, that you're not allowing yourself to receive, that remains in your blind spot? That information is so important, your body and your energy field. When you forget that your energetic beings, which is the next tool, remember that you're an energetic being. Expand your awareness, expand your energy field, and engage in that way, from that place, from your higher self to their higher self, from your energy body to their energy body, from your physical body and the information it's providing. Now, I know there's an application in this as well for those of you that are in relationship and stuck in patterns. Because I can guarantee you there's information in your energy fields and your physical body that you're ignoring, that's staying in your blind spot. So for those of you, and this can be any relationship, right? It doesn't have to be romantic relationship or marriage or partnership. It can be relationship with a kid or your parents or your neighbors or your friends or your housemate. Like, what is it? Where is it? What is it that's in your energy field, that's in your blind spot, that you're not allowing to participate in the relationship dynamics? That instead, because you're ignoring it, or because it's in your blind spot and you allow it to stay there, the patterns continue over and over and over and over and over again. This is a very complex topic, right? How many of you are feeling like, wow, this is a complex topic? There are so many different approaches. Yes, thank you for the validation. There are so many different ways to approach the transformation of this pattern, of the patterns. And yeah, so that's why I say, like, I wanted to do some inner work here so you get the depth of this. I wanted to do some outer work, some tangible like tools. I like simple tools that are powerful. I'm a huge fan of simplicity and ease. So if something's really simple and I can use it, like, who does this belong to? It's so easy. Not easy is to remember to use it. I have a friend who keeps doing this work and he's like, what are those questions again? I'm like, you know what? Take out a little, I don't have my pad right here because I just cleaned my desk, but take out a little sticky pad. If I could show you my window in front of me, I have sticky notes lined up. I put all my questions there. I put some statements that I want to remember, and I let them sit there for as long as I require them. And at some point I look and I say, oh, okay, kind of done with this question. I'll put that in the recycling bin. But put it out so you can see, everywhere. Like, if you want to work with the question, who does this belong to? Like, when you have a belief or behavior, or you made a choice, or you said something that's not in alignment with you, like, if you want to remember who does this belong to, put the question, put the sticky all over the place so that you remember to ask yourself. Simple tool, have to remember to use it. When you use it, really powerful. So, all right. Just looking at my notes here, because I see we're coming to the end of our time. I want to just highlight one of the tools that I went by sort of quickly, and that is heavier light. It's another tool that's really powerful. I learned it also with Access Consciousness work. It goes along with the fact that we're energetic beings. When things feel really heavy and dense, they're not in alignment with who we truly are. When things feel light, they are in alignment with who we truly are. When things feel heavy for me, I feel it on the right side of my body somehow. It feels really heavy, like it's all down there. When things feel light for me, I feel like on the left side of my body, like sort of up here by my head and beyond. I had to learn that over a long period of time. When I first started using heavy and light, I was like, I don't know, I don't feel anything. So I'd ask people, what do you think? Is it heavy or light? And over just, a couple months of practicing, that was me, couple months. Some people take a day, maybe some longer. But after a little bit of time of really practicing, it was like, working my muscles, working my energy muscles. It was like, now it's so obvious to me, but I know that for the first year, it was like, or 6 months, it was like, I don't know. I just sort of guessing. It's okay, guess, but use that tool in many, many, many different ways. So again, I'm a big believer in simple tools that go deep, tools that increase your awareness and allow you to see and us to see more of ourselves and more of our life journey and where we're heading. It's helpful to see the inner blocks for sure. So I hope you do some more journaling around that. We've got like 10 minutes left or so. We started a little bit late. So I do want to just go over this program, Heal Your Heart, because it's like my flagship program that came together last summer. And it actually came because all of the material that actually I already shared with you around the 4 gates came to me sort of a downloaded vision, I say, from my guides that put together all the material that I've been working with diligently for the past like 30 years to heal myself. And I put it all together in a format, and I've had clients in the program, participants in the program for the last couple of months. And it's one of those rolling admissions programs, so you can jump in anytime. So I wanted to share about it. It's a comprehensive 12-week program with all the tools and techniques that you need to address what's stuck deep down inside that's been hard to recognize, like many of the things we've been talking about today. The program addresses not only healing the heartbreaks of your past. Those are the ones you know about, right? Those are the stories you tell yourself, that you've told people, that you tell others, the things that happened in your life that still probably need to get to complete healing. Like I said, the program will address those things from the 4 aspects, the 4 gates that I talked about, healing the and then, so the 4 gates, so the emotional, the mental, the soul level, and the body level. But not only the things that we know about, that I'm calling the heartbreaks of the past, the work also goes into healing the subconscious, the hard to find issues that have kept you stuck. One of the exercises we do right at the beginning is called TOUT. I made this up myself, TOUT, the one unrecognizable thing. If you look at the one unrecognizable thing, first letter, TOUT. It's an exercise designed to support you in discovering that one thing that's still hanging out deep inside that's continued to drive your decisions and your behaviors. It's the one thing that has continued to keep you in this rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. This is really that one thing that I talked about earlier in the relationship that I ended last spring. I was able to find that one thing that I had not recognized, and wow, blew my mind, blew my heart open, and changed really so much in my life. It's hard to find because it's a wound, it's a trauma, most likely. But in this exercise, you're very gently and lovingly guided to find this part and then to do very specific healing tools and techniques to allow it to shift completely. So I really am going, as you know, and you probably can tell from this, just like really, really deep with everybody that I work with. The 12-week program takes you through the 4 gates. Again, I lead you gently into the emotional realms to excavate what still needs healing, and also teach you and talk about how emotions can be a distraction and what to do about that. Because we can spend years in this kind of rabbit hole, and that also doesn't get us to where we actually want to be, the next evolution of ourselves. We'll spend time diving into the latest neuroscience techniques. This is the mental realm that I love, love, love so much. Some of you already know. It's very powerful, no joke. It's changed my life completely using the practices of neuroplasticity. We did a couple of them on last week's retreat in Mexico, and it was like wow. I mean, they are truly, honestly life-changing. I didn't fully heal from some of the things going on with my energy until I started doing that work. No joke. We're going to also go into the soul journey and how to figure out what journey your soul is on. In other words, why you're here in this lifetime and what the bigger picture is for your soul. This is actually vital when it comes to healing and understanding the things that have occurred in your life. This perspective of the soul journey is really important. And like I said, most programs are a quick fix addressing one aspect, but not addressing all four, so that you can actually have the transformation that you require and that you desire in your life. And of course, we go into the body, and the body is also woven through the entire program. How have you befriended or not befriended your greatest ally, your body? So I created this program because of my own experience, thinking I was doing everything I could heal, only to realize that I really wasn't. I just wasn't getting to the cobwebs, to the dust in the corner, and even to some bigger pieces that were hiding in my blind spots. What actions do you know you need to take next to address the things you've been avoiding? That's a question that I have for you. What actions do you know you need to take next to address things you've been avoiding? So if you still have your pen and journal, I would jot that one down. What actions do you know you need to take next to address things that you've been avoiding? We all know we need to take them, right? We're sort of like keeping things at bay, avoiding, defending. We know they're there, but we don't always choose them. And you're here because this rinse and repeat cycle is getting you down in some way, and you're ready for the next evolution of yourself. This program takes you through these trials, these challenges of healing so completely and fully that you come out the other side truly loving yourself and loving way more of yourself. One of my past participants just said to me a few days ago, I was broken when I met Robin. Now I love myself so much. I care for myself well. I have health issues and I know how to take care of myself. And of course, now I'm married. It's been a miracle. She's amazing. She's been working with me for 8 or 9 years now. This class is group coaching with individual time to address your concerns. The program's delivered in a combination of bite-sized recordings, so they're really easy to listen to when you're out for a walk or, sitting in your home, or like I listen when I'm going to sleep at night. Plus time every single week, we have an hour Zoom call together. So we're live together every week, like reviewing what you've listened to, asking and answering questions, individual coaching, spotlight coaching, basically everything you require for support. There's about 10 hours of recorded teaching for you to listen again at your own pace. There's interaction, a lot of interaction with the group members and with me. And there's a Facebook group if that's something you desire. In the recorded sessions, I've given you all the techniques that I love and that I've used myself, all based on the principles of the step. So you can take like step by step and dive deeply into each aspect of the 4 gates. And then we go deeper on the Zoom calls together and we get really connected. It's not for everybody. So I opened up spaces. The way that I like to do programs like this is I open up spaces in my calendar to talk with you about it. So after this class is over, you'll get the recording and you'll get a link to my calendar, and you can just click on it, look at your own calendar, and choose a time that works for both of us. And then we'll talk about it some more, because like I said, it's not right for everybody. But if it's right for you, then let's talk further about, what it would take to work together in this particular way of the Heal Your Heart program, which is so near and dear to my heart. So I want to take a moment before I thank everybody and just see if there are any questions. Can I please repeat the question? Oh no. Sorry, Deb and Bill, I didn't see that at 12:36. So yes, you will receive the replay. And I hope that maybe you got that question. Holly says, I've been feeling flat for 3 months. Seems to be something suppressing my feelings, but don't know whether that's true. Oh, that's great. I'm really glad you said that. So is the feeling flat? Thanks, Deb. Can I just ask you a question while we're here? If you're willing? Okay, so let's just jump in with the tool so we can demo. I know it's 1 o'clock. If it's okay with people, we'll take like a couple more minutes. just take a breath for a moment. Remember, heavy, not yours, light, yours ish, not always 100%. So I want to just, but let's just ask, is this feeling flat yours?
Is this mine? Oh, well, I've been experiencing it for 3 months.
I know you've been experiencing it. That's not the question. So don't go
Oh,
into your mind.
right.
Just feel energetically, is this feeling flat yours? Yes or no? Truth, is it yours? Let's just try yes. Say yes. And how does that feel?
Yes, it does feel like it's mine.
Okay,
It's
now just
yeah.
pause. Say no, it's not mine. How does that feel?
No, it's not mine.
It, okay, I'm going to ask, I would ask other people, but
Yeah.
to me, when you said, yes, it's mine, your voice was low, it sounded heavy. When you said, no, it's not mine, you said it like very light. No, it's not mine. Very light.
Oh.
That's what I heard in the tone of your voice.
The tone of my voice was different than the
Yeah,
content
sure
of that.
was.
Very interesting.
It
Thank
sure
you.
was. You can go back and listen to the replay and hear it yourself. It was quite different. So let's start with who does it belong to and return to sender. I know as an energy being, not only you, but everybody on this call is picking up the energy of everybody, not only on this call, but out in the world, in your life directly and not in your life directly. So you've been feeling flat and kind of heavy lately. I'm not surprised. And my guess is it's not yours and you're picking it up. So let's not hold on to that anymore. Like, let's return that to sender with consciousness and light.
Okay, so there's a difference between release and return, actually.
Okay.
I was thinking about trying
Yeah.
to release it and it wasn't moving, but I'll try return.
Yes. Those words are different energetically, aren't they? Yeah. Return is, right? Like putting somebody else's name on the envelope and send it. Right. Yeah. Try that. Try that over and over again today and send me a note and let me know how you feel.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you, Holly, for bringing it up, for being vulnerable and sharing. And it's a great example of a way that we have this belief that we have to hold on to everything. We keep everything in our drawers. We don't like let things go. Some people do, but some people don't. And we just have this, we learned to hold on to everything in our bodies and we don't need to. So yeah, let's try that. I think Deb just put in the chat, yes. So that wasn't a question. Good. So I just want to thank everybody for being here, for taking this deep dive with me, for learning the tools, for taking notes, for practicing these tools that are potential life-changing if you take them on day to day, for being intentional about breaking patterns in your life that are not working for you. It's really an honor to be here. It's been an honor to share this space with you. And I'd be beyond thrilled to see you on my calendar so we can talk about the Heal Your Heart program. Let's just see if it's a right fit. It's like no pressure. I'm not a big salesperson. Just like I have this beautiful program. There's some people graduating from it this week. And I'm like, let's bring some more people in. It's so beautiful. It's so healing. It's powerful. And I love this work so much. I'm so happy to share it. So hop on my calendar, even if you're like, I don't know is the perfect way to hop on my calendar. And if you're clear, like, yeah, this is something I want to do, great, hop on my calendar and we'll talk about it. Because it really does have to be the right fit. So we'll know when we talk. All right. Lots of love, everybody. I'm so grateful to spend this time with you. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm going to go to the gallery so that I can see all your faces. Yay. Thank you for being here. Lots of love.